Welcome back to the Free Play Podcast. Once again, my name is Bubba, joined with Kate, my bestie in the whole wide Eastie.
Well, I could be Westy now because Matt's not here. So then I'm more to the west. Matt's not here, so I'm the only one that's to the west.
You're the only one. You
and
are
Matt,
the
Matt,
most
actually,
Western.
no. Matt isn't even to the west of you.
I know, but it just rhymes.
Well,
anyway,
I'll use thesaurus and think of something.
I didn't express that. I didn't expect that to trigger you as hard as it did. But hey, I'm glad that it did. Today, Kate's our producer, okay? Like Kate does a ton of stuff around the office here, but she also produces this podcast. And so basically what she does is she just says, "Hey Matt, hey Bubba, this is what we're talking about."
Well, sometimes I give you a choice between two things.
You do that, but like it's like
But it's only one of those two things unless you have something better.
Yeah, it's like when your mommy asks you, "Do you want carrots or do you want broccoli?"
Yeah, which one?
It's like you're going to eat vegetables and you're going to like it.
Eat it.
So anyway, Kate said, "Hey, I want to talk about verification on Twitter," which we have actually talked quite a bit about. And I think it's because it's so near and dear to Kate's heart.
It's near and dear to my heart. And you actually brought this up maybe a month ago, and I told you not to say anymore because I'm going to put it on the topic list. And then some things have happened since you even said that. So I'm here to provide you with a little bit of an update, some bad news for you.
Womp womp. For me?
And then, some.
Come on.
And some people might be saying, what does it matter about verification? Like, why is that important to the Free Play Podcast? Why is that important to Love Thy Nerd? And the reason is because it is bringing up a whole issue of who is legit on the internet. How do we know that this is a reliable and true source? You know, that's the age-old thing that you learn in elementary school or maybe middle school of what's a reliable source. So we care about news here on the Free Play Podcast.
Yeah, whether you like it or not.
Yeah. So I had to say goodbye to my verification. I had a verified Twitter account.
I cannot believe that, dude.
That was, I've had that verification since 2009. And I had to say goodbye to it. I actually didn't know when it for sure was going to go away. So I woke up one morning and I went to Twitter and it was gone. And it was like kind of bittersweet. Well, mostly bitter. But then again, I had that verification, that check mark for something that I did ages ago that I'm no longer currently doing. Right? So it's kind of like, did I still need it? But that wasn't the point. Yes. That wasn't the point behind my hurt feelings. It was like, I earned this and you took it away. So it wasn't just me though, obviously. It was loads of people that got their verification taken away. And then the only way you can be verified is to purchase Twitter Blue for $8 a month subscription.
That's bonkers, dude.
The problem with that is that anyone can then purchase the verification for $8 a month. So there were some issues very recently where quote unquote verified accounts were spreading misinfo about a nuclear strike from Russia on Ukraine.
Verified accounts.
DEFCON warning system. So in case you ever heard of the account DEFCON warning system, they're not legit, but they have a verified badge and spreading misinformation, which other verified but not legit accounts then picked up and circulated themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So it's feeding into this whole thing. And then here's to the pettiness of Elon Musk. Some Twitter users found that they still had their verified mark, but they weren't paying for it. But if you clicked it, it would come up with a badge that said this user subscribes to Twitter Blue, and that's why they have the verification.
Okay.
So this was celebrities, right? And they were like, I don't want this. And when they went to cancel it, it would give them no option because they weren't paying for the service. Elon just like set them up so that they were forced to have it. So they were forced to look like they had it. Here's some
even when they were not paying for it.
Yes. So here's a couple examples of celebrities that this happened to. And two of them you'll say, that's interesting that you would have this Twitter Blue and you would be paying for it. Stephen King had one he didn't want.
Oh, I saw Stephen King with that check.
He had one he didn't want. Lil Nas X had one he didn't want, wasn't paying for. And then get this, Anthony Bourdain and Chadwick Boseman.
Anthony Bourdain?
And Chadwick Boseman. Like, ugh, what are you doing? You know? They're not paying for Twitter Blue. Doesn't that give you like a gross
They are
feeling?
not, may God rest their souls.
Yeah. So
who did I see? Did I see, was it Stephen King that said they made, I'm sorry, I'm on Twitter right now trying to verify what I'm about to say. They said, for those of you that are wondering, I'm not paying for this.
Yeah.
Somebody said that.
A lot of people did.
Okay.
Because it's humiliating to have that there and be like, I'm not paying for it, you know? And then this week, Elon Musk implemented a new thing where he removed when you click the verification badge and then it says they're paying for Twitter Blue and that's why they have it. He took that away to quote unquote spare the humiliation.
It just says this account is verified.
Yeah.
I cannot. What are we doing here?
I don't know. And then there's like more. There was this guy named Drill on Twitter who's like a big user on Twitter.
Okay.
He started a hashtag block the blue campaign where he was trying to get people to block everybody who had a blue check mark. So then Elon Musk gave him a blue check mark that he can't remove.
What in the world?
Isn't that insane?
Is he like actively trying to tank Twitter?
I don't know, but he's such a troll.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't get verified on Twitter 2 years ago.
No, unless the only way that you can do it is if you have a direct connection to somebody in Twitter and you were representing somebody like a musician or something.
Yeah.
And you would use like the label or the management's connection to go and do that. It wasn't like everybody can apply to do it. That was the only way, really. And now...
Well, and then they shut that down for a while.
They shut it down for a while. And now it's like... So, say Stephen King gets his removed like he wants. Now there's 5,000 fake Stephen King Twitter accounts.
Yeah.
Now what? Like, the verification badge turned into like a massive FOMO thing, but the original purpose of it was to prevent account copying, basically, and fake identities. There were a couple fake Kate accounts. None of them tweeted quite with the humor that I had in my tweets. They just didn't really get the tone and language of my things. But it makes it easier if you're verified because then people know it's the real you. That was the original purpose. And now it's turned into some twisted, weird thing. Weird. And here's the bad news for you, Bubba. I think it was 2 weeks ago. You said we were looking at something, and it was an organization, and they had the yellow verified mark. And you were like, we should have that. How do we get that? Well, guess what? I looked into how we can get that. We have to submit an application and pay $1,000 to submit the application. If they deny it, it gets worse. If they deny it, we don't get our money back. And then if they approve it, going forward, we then pay $1,000 a month.
No. Absolutely not.
So we're not doing it.
Dude, what the heck?
There's so much back and forth on this, and the real meaning of verification doesn't. I think it got lost in some translation here. The FOMO, the whole I want to be verified.
Dude, now I'm like...
The root of it is FOMO. I mean, don't you think? And now that it's too easily accessible, now everybody's just going insane with the power. It's gone straight to their heads, and now there is no power. I used mine only responsibly.
So did you, when you looked that up, did you go to like Twitter official stuff or?
Yeah,
like...
I looked at multiple things and I looked at Twitter official and they said organizational verification, $1,000 a month. So.
Why would anybody do that? I'm saying
I don't know. I guess if you have a lot of money to spare, you wouldn't care.
I guess.
But $1,000 a month just to have that doesn't really.
DuckDuckGo has it. Who else?
I guess it depends. I guess it depends how important it is to you.
Dude, I'm not even thinking that it's worth the time and energy and effort of any of it at all.
No, like, it's not. But then
especially when so many things are still in the air. Like,
yes, this whole thing could tank tomorrow.
Oh, and okay, there we go. We'll do an LTN verification GoFundMe. It's perfect.
Yeah, who wants to pay? Oh, geez, that's horrible. Say, oh, you guys got to fund our $1,000 a month verification.
Yeah.
I would rather put that. There's so many other things we could put that $1,000 to that would actually make a difference in things besides having that on the Twitter account.
Dude, that is.
It's just
bonkers.
Like weird. Really weird.
I don't know, man. How important do you think it is to have a verification badge?
The only reason why it's important is to make sure that people know that you are the real one. That's it. That's it.
So here's the thing, though. Let me be real with you, okay?
I'm listening.
Love Thy Nerd has never been verified on any platform at all, and still, we get contacted frequently by people that are like, hey, we want to work with you guys. How can we work with you guys? Can you come and help us? Can you train us? Can we be part of what you're doing? No verification at all. We let the things that we do, we let our actions speak for us. And we talked, Kate, you and I talked ad nauseum about verification before you could pay for it. Okay, what do we need to do? Should we like charge for partner on Twitch? How do we get our Discord server verified? Like, because the check mark, right? And I just don't know if it's.
I don't think that everyone needs to have it. There are some people that are more at risk in the sense of, okay, how about this? Charles Barkley. I love Charles Barkley.
Yep.
He doesn't have any social media. Every social media platform that's out there that says they're Charles Barkley is not. If he was to have one, it's like those higher profile people are the ones that are going to have the fake accounts made of them. So, like we talked about last week, in the day and age of AI, you have these terrible things that could be created that are not real. You could have tweets that are said that are not from the real person, and there'd be no real way of proving that it wasn't them besides looking at the follower count. Maybe you could Photoshop that if you did a screenshot.
But that circles back around to the original problem that we're having here is that either Elon decides that you're good to go. And by Elon, we mean Twitter, right?
Yeah.
Because to think that Elon is just kind of sitting in front of a computer and working on Twitter all day.
Yep. Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Twitter is deciding who's verified without even their consent. That's bonkers, okay?
That's weird. And they can't undo it. That's the weirder part.
Or you can pay for it. That's not how verification works, right? Like
no.
Or at least it shouldn't be how it works, right? If it's just pay to play, and we've seen this already. You talked about this at the beginning of the segment. People are just purchasing the things that they need to purchase, and it's not verification. You're not verified.
No, it doesn't mean anything.
You're the opposite of verified.
It used to be that, like, when I got my verified thing, it was because I had a legit connection to Disney, for one, and two, there were already fake accounts of me popping up. So it was like a preemptive, and that's how they used to do it. That was Twitter hadn't been around for a super long time. So that was how they used to do it was,
Yeah.
Are you someone that may or may not be notable? Are there fake accounts of you popping up that we need to kind of like curb this now? Here you go. But that's not how it is anymore.
No, well, and I wonder if it's like a heavy course correction, because Twitter and Facebook and social media and all sorts of stuff got drug in front of Congress, and so I wonder if it's not just like, well, hey, we tried to keep fake news.
Out. Like, here you go. Now everything's fake news.
Yeah, you
Part
thought
of me
it
wonders,
like we knew this was gonna happen when Elon took over, though, right? Like, he even said it. He's like,
he said no verification, and he said, I'm gonna take away verification, like all this stuff. So part of me wonders if he bought Twitter as basically just a huge troll science experiment and is like, let's just see, let's do all this stuff and just see what the peoples do.
But then he bought it, and everybody was like, you can't buy that. It's illegal for you to buy that. Also,
it's not.
You can't do this. It's illegal for you to do this. And so he did. He got in, and he was playing in an area that he probably shouldn't have been playing in. But at the end of the day, instead of him purchasing it and just being like the financier and being the head, he can do whatever he wanted. It doesn't matter. But letting smarter people in that particular space run it and let it become just it could have become a bigger giant. It could have become the social media platform, period, end of story, full stop. But instead, it's become this laughingstock. And we've seen people that are like, oh, well, I'm leaving Twitter. Everybody talks big game. Nobody's leaving Twitter, right?
Yeah, you can't afford to. You literally can't
Hive
afford
was a thing
to.
for a while. It still has too much of, because it has so much heat on it, right? It's still in the news. It's still the widest. Well, I don't want to say the widest. Depending on what you're trying to do, it's one of the widest user bases. You want to get stuff out there. It's still the way to do that.
It has its time and its place and its demographic. Absolutely. So despite what Elon is doing with all this crazy stuff, Twitter very much still is extremely relevant in terms of social media platforms.
It's nuts.
Which is wild. It's wild. But there is no true suitable platform to move over to that checks all the boxes that this one does. So the whole verification thing is just a really terrible, grotesque social experiment. I don't know what else to call it. Like, organizations $1,000 a month.
That's stupid, dude. I mean, $8.
What is that?
$8 a month for a personal one. I think that's a little high.
Should be $5 or below.
I also could argue it's a little low. I could go both ways on that one.
It depends what you want it to do, the verification.
It's such a massive jump to go from
$8
to $1,000. It's such a massive jump. I would need to see, Kate, can you tell me, we got just a little bit of time left. What are the benefits of a yellow check mark? At all. Other than saying, nope, we're verified.
I can almost guarantee you there's no other.
Do we get access to live streaming on the platform that is not accessible to other people? Do we get access to seminars? Is there a nonprofit program? Or is it just
you get a square avatar icon. You can add an unlimited number of affiliates. So I guess that means so say we pay the $1,000. That means I could be verified again. You, Matt, everybody could all be verified. So that's what you get for
I would hope so.
That's what you get for $1,000.
$1,000. I do see the square.
Based on just my quick check right now on what you would get.
Oh my gosh, dude. It's not worth it. It's not worth it at all. I'm a little bit mad that it's even taken up a segment for us to talk about on this podcast, which is a podcast about nothing. And so Like,
well, the peoples need to know because now you have to be careful when you see an account that says DEFCON warning system tweeting about how Russia is going to bomb Ukraine. Just be careful because just because they're verified now, it doesn't mean jack squat. Isn't that terrifying?
Jack squat. Dude,
it terrifies me.
I would say maybe if we said, hey, we're gonna go verified for a month and it's marketing money, right? But $1,000 a month.
No.
We're not at the point where we can do $1,000.
That's
money.
insane. And just on Twitter, I would rather use
just on Twitter.
I would rather use $1,000 for anything to do with NCMS in any other place.
Oh yeah.
I would rather use it on Facebook. $1,000.
Yeah, we would go so much further. Anyway, hey, we want to hear what you think about all this stuff. Crazy, right? Absolute crazy.
So nobody wants it. The famous people don't want it, and the peasants like us do want it.
Yeah.
We pay for it to just troll.
That's so stupid. Absolutely backwards from what it should be.
Yeah.
Anyway.